Chapter 15. Who shows courage encourages others. Adolf Kopling, German priest and social reformer. The following Wednesday, 2 letters came to our door. The first was from Oma Gertrude, my mother's mother and the woman for whom I'd been named. For as far back as I can remember, Oma Gertrude had always been old, but over the last year she had also begun to have some health problems. The state was usually very cooperative about giving my mother time off from work to take care of Oma's needs, but Mama seemed worried this time. She's fallen and broken her leg, Mama said. I'll have to stay with her for a while. Perhaps the state will give me work near her home. What about us? I asked. Our family was separated enough. I didn't want Mama leaving too. We can take care of ourselves, Fritz offered. School is almost out for the summer, and I've got to stay here in Berlin and work. Gerda can take care of things around the house. I'll come home as soon as I can. Then Mama frowned, second-guessing herself. You should both come with me. No. Fritz and I were in agreement about that. Aside from whatever work he could find, Fritz had a girlfriend here now, and I didn't want to stay with Oma. Her house smelled like fish, and there was nothing to do. So against my mother's better judgment, it was decided that we would stay in Berlin while she went to the countryside to help Oma Gertrude. None of us seemed particularly happy about the idea, but we all agreed it was our best option. The second letter was for Fritz. It was from the military, reminding him that he would turn 18 in June. By the end of the month, he would be expected to enroll for a year and a half of service. Refusing to serve, the letter clearly stated, would have serious consequences. Well, of course it would. Everything had serious consequences. Fritz's eyebrows pressed together as he read it, and I could tell that he was bothered. But even if he was, he clearly remembered, as we always did now, that the ears of the Stasi were hidden somewhere in our apartment, and so he couldn't say anything when he finished other than, "This is a great opportunity, I can hardly wait." Fritz wasn't as good a liar as I was, probably because he had a genuinely good heart, or a better heart than mine anyway. His attempt to sound positive came out sounding sarcastic and brittle, so I countered by saying, I know you're excited, but we'll miss you. It sounded believable, though my sympathetic expression to him said otherwise. He smiled a thanks in return. Mama didn't appear to have noticed any difference in him or any particular strangeness in the tone of his words, but neither of us blamed her for that. She looked more tired every day, and now with the news of Oma needing care and the reminder of Fritz's military duty, I was sure Mama's mind was full of all the worries it could possibly hold. She left early to go into work and speak with her supervisor. Fritz said because of that we had some extra time, too, and did I want him to walk me to school? I should have refused his offer. After all, I was plenty old enough to get myself to school. But I missed walking with Anna, and it would give us a chance to talk in private. It was a busy morning with the street full of tradements, the bulky, inexpensive Eastern carts that were about as reliable as snow in July. The common joke said that the best feature of any Trabant was the heater in back, which would warm your hands as you pushed it home. As we left the building, a white truck pulled up directly in front of our apartment. It looked like a delivery truck, but had no markings on it at all. That alone was odd. Our building rarely received deliveries. A door opened and a man was pushed out onto the street. He fell on his hands and knees, and the second I recognized our neighbor, I darted over to help him. Herr Kraus? I glanced up only long enough to see Victor, Fritz's former friend, standing in the doorway of the truck. He frowned at me and then eyed Fritz. Neither of them said a word, and Victor's expression was so cold I thought maybe he had been turned to ice. Then he shut the door and the truck drove away. Herr Kraus had heavy bags under his eyes and his hands were shaking. Are you all right? I asked him. Can we send for a doctor? He put his hands on either side of my face and tears streamed down his cheeks. I never should have printed those papers, he said. Do you hear me? I was wrong. By then, another woman in our apartment had seen Herr Kraus. She darted forward and used her shoulders to prop him up. Fritz held out a hand and said, I can carry him in. No, the woman pushed his hand away as if he had offered poison rather than help. It's better for everyone if you go to school. Her eyes darted around the street. Please just go. It's getting worse, Fritz said to me when we were alone. People are more suspicious of us. and they keep their distance. Word is getting out that I was arrested. Anna barely looks at me anymore. Then I shrugged. School is out at the end of this week, though, so at least during the summer I won't have to watch her ignore me all day. Fritz stopped walking and shoved his hands in his pockets. There's this girl I like. Claudia? He smiled at first, hearing her name, but it quickly faded away. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, but just got started dating a few weeks ago. I like her a lot, actually, and even asked if she'd wait for me until I got my release from the military. She said she would, until last night. Her father doesn't want us dating anymore. Why not? Fritz kicked at the ground with his foot. The Stasi showed him my file. They suggested it wouldn't be good for Claudia to continue dating me. I'm sorry, Fritz. My sympathy wouldn't make him feel any better. I knew that, but I felt his hurt and frustration like it was my own. He only sucked in a whistle of air, then blew it out again. Ever since I was arrested a couple of months ago, I've tried, Gerda. Honestly, I have. I've tried to say the right things and do the right things and be whatever it is they want of me. But the more I try to do what they want, the more I understand that my life has been put on this track to failure. From now on, wherever I go, they will stand in my way and I can't win against them. You can get Claudia back. I'm sure you can. Maybe, but that's not why I told you. He smiled, but it was so sad and hopeless, I'd rather have seen him frown. The same thing is coming for you, too. Even though he spoke quietly, his words echoed like thunder in my ears. Watching Fritz was like looking at pictures of my own life 5 years down the road. When I would be 17 and hoping to get into a university only to be rejected, needing to get a job, or any job for that matter, only to be turned down, trying to find someone I could love only to have him pulled away from me for the reasons I would never fully understand. I knew it would happen to me because it was already happening to Fritz. This all started when Father participated in that uprising 12 years ago, Fritz said, and now his tone grew bitter. He thought because he wasn't arrested that he got away with it, but he didn't. And then he spent every year since then talking to people about ideas that are considered dangerous here. He thought he got away with that too because they were only ideas, but look at where we are now. I started walking again and Fritz followed along at my side. You and I have ideas too, I told him, and I don't want to become like them. I stared up at him. That's not me, Fritz, and I don't think it's you either. No, it's not, he said. In fact, never mind. In fact, what? Fritz was avoiding my eyes now, so I moved in front of him, forcing him to look at me. Tell me. He opened his mouth and clamped it shut and walked past me. A new worry sprouted in my chest, and I hurried to catch up to him. Fritz had been keeping secrets from Mama for years just to protect her, but something had changed. Now, he had started keeping them from me as well.